Lindsay Davenport.
In the 90s, we had a few top women tennis players that didn't want anything to do with the politics, wouldn't say anything, and we had a few top male players who didn't mind saying disparaging comments about the women's, and it was kind of puzzling to me, like, can't we just work together to grow the sport? I turned pro at Indian Wells in 1993. I was 16 years old, and my check, I got to the quarterfinals, I got $7,500. And my older sister said, you should frame that. I go, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm not gonna frame that. I'm gonna go spend it. I'm like so rich now.
When I won my first tournament in Houston, I think as a 15-year-old, where I beat one of my idols, Chrissy Everett, I think it was around 50,000, which I was like, I couldn't believe, because as a 15-year-old, that would have paid for all my traveling and all this other stuff. It was just like almost surreal. You carried that check with me on the plane because, you never knew if you're gonna make anything like that ever again, and because you just wanted to make sure you had enough for expenses, because in tennis, essentially, you're an independent contractor and you're just as good as your last results.
I came in right as the generation of Chris and Martina. Chris had just retired a few years earlier. Martina was winding down her career, and they were such huge leaders. Then we got into an era where some of the top players didn't want to get that involved in the politics of the sport. And you kind of just sit back and you watch what the top players are doing, and you're not really sure, okay, if they're not getting involved in some of the decisions and they're not speaking out, how does that affect everyone else? And then in 1995, Billie Jean King became my Fed Cup captain, and she really taught me everything that had happened in women's tennis, the fights that she had been in, the equality fights and everything that she stood for, and I'm forever indebted to her. There was a point in the 90s where one Grand Slam, we had it and they took it away from us. So then it was a big fight to get it back and to get it across the board, and I'm so happy to be a part of this era that now treats women so well, or certainly treats them better than they used to.
I remember when I won my first, I think US Open was the first Grand Slam that offered equal prize money. I mean, it was just an unbelievable. I was very fortunate in my Fed Cup and Olympic days to get to know Billie Jean King, because of whom today I'm sitting here, and I think all of us ladies who play on the tour can make a living at a really essential sport that we love to do.
When I was playing, I never thought about how important that legacy was until I actually came on the WTA tour. And I was able to meet them and to talk to Chris Evert and to talk to Navratilova, like to hear them talk and how hard they had to work. There's a lot more money involved, and it's going to be important for the new big stars to keep their feet on the ground and just keep their focus on tennis.
It's been great to see the Grand Slams come around and award equal prize money. We don't take that for granted, and I feel like we're going in a much better direction now than we were before.